Yep. I'll quickly import Pandas, and I'll just say df is equals to pd.read. Then I'll probably read this uh, data set. Same like before. Nothing has been changed. Yep. And then simply print df and check, or maybe df.head. 5 rows I want to just check. By default, it will print 5, which we have already discussed. Okay, let me only print 2 for the time being. Let me run right now. Oh, so this is a different environment. Let me quickly install Pandas here. Yep. Yep. So we have our data set ready. And now the whole point of scenario is we apply some filters in this data, aggregate some columns, and then we kind of visualize them for the sake of simplifying the grasping of insights. So we could also do in numbers, something like which we have done earlier. But unfortunately, you see that instead of reading numbers, if you see a chart, it will be very clear of what is happening or what insights the data wants to show us. For that sake, we'll kind of use Matplotlibrary as a base framework to to present some charts. But before we need to make our data ready using Pandas, nothing but we need to do some little data exploration kind of thing, which we have done earlier, but we'll try to kind of recap for today. I'll not recap everything, but few concepts. Remaining things you can figure out. So something that we also checked how to aggregate the number of, how to aggregate the quantity of units sold by city as well as by shipped status, by courier status especially. Okay, or shipped status, it is one and the same thing. So, and we've also we have seen that how to use pivot as a core syntax to kind of transform the whole data frame into a pivoted data frame. We have seen this same thing in Excel as well as replicated that in Pandas, as well as we have seen some other filtration process like how to only get uh, shipped or like courier status shipped only data from the entire data frame, like how to filter out and store it in a different variable, as well as we have seen how to remove nulls. We have also seen how to rename columns, how to reset index. Okay, so all these things we were able to kind of see the last time. And now we'll do one or two things like filtration part, and immediately we'll try to get into chats. Do you want to have like 2 to 3 minutes to recap the previous uh, code which we have written, or do you want me to recap for you? I don't know if I have it handy. Let me check if I have it handy. Yeah, I do have it handy. So I'll try to kind of Acha, okay. I did use Spider, right? I forgot. Sorry, I completely forgot that I have used Spider. So I may have that file there. Let me check. Yes, yes. And earlier I was using PyCharm from the same environment. Right now I'm using Spider. That is the only difference. Yeah, we have everything here regarding the pandas which we have covered. Yes. So I'll just try to recap each line so that it will be easy for us to understand when we push the same data into Matplotlibrary and kind of do some charts. Let's also do some like all types of charts, especially starting with line chart, ending with box plot, whatever comes in between, like bar, vertical bar, horizontal bar, even let's see pie charts, let's see stacked bar chart, and then we can also see histogram, and then couple of other charts. Like we do have violin plots also, which are very similar to box plots, but they kind of show the significance of using those plots are different. Let's kind of cover all the foundational charts today, and then let's see what can we do. What can we else do with Matplotlibrary? There is also a library called Plotly. Okay, I'll just give you some basic knowledge of Plotly before even I get into Matplotlibrary. Why? Because now whatever the Power BI you are seeing today is only very hyped because of its dynamicality. So you might have to understand from where this dynamicality has been evolved into Power BI, or maybe it may be Amazon QuickSight, a similar tool, or it may be Tableau as well, a similar tool. So how this dynamicality has been kind of engraved or maybe extracted onto as a separate tools like these. So I'll just open our Chrome Plotly. So this you can explore later. Nobody will very few companies will expect you to kind of bring this dynamicality, but it is very important thing to understand. So this particular framework is also a Python framework, which includes Matplotlibrary as a base core or base framework to kind of present the charts or do create visualizations, but it will also add some kind of dynamics, something like you can add some scroll bar to scroll the starting year from 1999 to 2024, or you may have some drop down menu to kind of select and automatically the chart changes and everything. Okay, so let's check that a simple example, and then let's see examples. Yep. One second. Let me bring up 1-2 examples, especially. Yeah, now you can see this particular application. Okay, application nothing but a simple chart, and now you see there is a drop down here, and whenever you kind of change the country, automatically this chart changes. Okay, so now this is the same thing which you can also see on Power BI on a full extent. Here it is not on full extent, but because it is kind of very customized. Say if you want drop down, you can add drop down. If you want a slider, you can add a slider. If you want a complete if you want even add if you want to even add a clock, you can add a clock. to show timings of a different country. There are so many components which you can do, so many styles which you can add. You can also select what happens when you hover. So you can see here you have like year 1997 and pop is something, and when you change like what hover somewhere else, it shows a different year 1992. Okay, and it is showing some different value, like population value basically in the like what in year 1992 of this particular country. So now here we only need one particular drop down. So you are creating one particular drop down using one function, but later you may need multiple drop downs, or you may also need a date picker, a time picker, or maybe anything else as well, which you might need to control your entire charts or the data represented on the like what a single page. So all you have to kind of understand is that Python can also kind of bring up these like what dynamics into your charts, not only Power BI, but it is just that as the tool is readily available with custom configurations, you can simply drag and drop everything instead of writing code for everything. So right now to create this small graph with some dynamics of drop down, you need to write this particular code. Okay, read the data from here. So you have to write what is the kind of UI elements you need to add. Something like you need to add header, like what heading 1, and you are going to add this heading. Then what is the style of that heading? So you want to align it center. Then you want to create a drop down for country. Okay, and by default you will show Canada. Like by nothing but by default Canada will be selected, but anybody can drop down and kind of select another country. Okay, and then you want to kind of add the graph content, because dynamically when you change the country name, the graph has to also update itself. Okay, so this callback function you probably kind of have to continuously listen to the user and see if something has been changed on the like what drop down, and accordingly change it on the graph. And you also have a small function for updating the graph here. Okay, so this particular update graph will be called under app.run. Okay, so I don't want to kind of get into this complex thing. I just gave you an overview so that it will be easy for you to explore by yourself. There are many tutorials on YouTube to explore these dynamics of like what charts using dash plotly. Please check or like what have this handy, dash plotly, because this is very useful when you want to add dynamics to your chart. I am very much stressing on this because we are not covering this as a part of our learning path. So this is something which you need to personally explore by yourself. Now coming to our like what thing, I'll kind of start with Matplotlibrary. Here I can actually wait for 2 minutes for anybody to kind of look at this particular code, and then see if you want to stress on something and you want to ask me something, I can touch base here. So some same like Pandas, we also have a library called Dash, okay, which can be used to create UI elements and drop like what any dynamic elements. Something like this UI title has been added by Dash. Then here this particular drop down has been added by Dash. So what else can we do is we can connect this dynamics to a plot or a graph using Plotly. Okay, so Plotly is a library which can be used to kind of create charts. Okay, so right now we are using a line chart here. So you can see from where the line chart is actually coming up. From this line written px dot line, this is the data frame, and x I want it to be year, and y I want it to be population from the like what data frame. So this is basically the column name from the data frame, which is in this variable DFF. Okay, so here we are creating a chart, and dash is used to kind of connect all the dynamics to this chart And whenever something we change in the like what dynamics of what Dash has created, something like drop down here, accordingly this particular graph will be updated. Something like if I change this country to some other country, automatically chart will be changed. So that is what this Dash will be useful. Okay, we can also connect Matplotlibrary also itself to Dash, but it is one and the same. Here this guy is using Plotly, but Matplotlibrary is also something which you can use just to kind of create charts. So nothing is different between Matplotlibrary and Plotly. Here it is simply a website which we are seeing, and we are seeing a documentation. Okay, here even when you run this code by yourself, automatically this particular chart will be like what present showcased, or the output of this chart will be showcased on the same window, or a small new window in the Anaconda Navigator itself, or the Spider itself, or PyCharm itself. So this is just that something like Python documentation, we are looking at the like what Python dash documentation to understand all these things. Yeah. So maybe it is very kind of depth we maybe have seen before even understanding Matplotlibrary. I just wanted to cover this because not even cover. I just wanted to show this so that you can go back to this website and check this code, run this by yourself once we have discussed Matplotlibrary, and see how these dynamics can be added. So this is not really needed for anybody who is just entering into data analytics or just writing Python scripts. But over the period of time, this will be expected from every data analyst because Power BI also has some limitations. Tableau also has some limitations. Even any other like what visualization tool has some limitations. But here, as you can customize everything by yourself, you can reach like what to the customer's expectations or stakeholder expectations more than using Power BI by customizing yourself with the code. So you can just see maximize your customer or stakeholder satisfaction by using Python code instead of just relying on the Power BI tool and just letting them conveying them that okay, this is a limitation from Power BI, we cannot move beyond this. Okay, so it will be always good to have this skill so that you can customize your charts by adding any kind of dynamics your stakeholder might request, and accordingly you can show them some output. I am pinning down this link here in the chat, and probably you can look at it later. Yeah, you can try it by your own. That's it. Yeah. So now coming back to this, we just to have a recap. Here we are just printing out some rows. Okay, any n number of rows. Then we are seeing what is the different types of data of columns, or nothing but different types of data types each column in the data frame has. Then df.describe is actually showing a basic statistical inferences, something like mean, median, mode, and percentiles. Nothing but the first standard deviation, second standard deviation, and third standard deviation on the basis of normal distribution. Then we are seeing where are null values in our data frame, and in line number 14 we are actually printing out what are all the columns in the data frame. So do anybody have any doubts in first 5 lines, like 4 lines, 5? Okay, so I'll just cover until this section so that we can create a data frame, and from there we can proceed towards charts. So now I think you already have understood that from line number 27 we are only kind of slicing the data where the courier status has shipped data, or nothing but we are kind of filtering that particular courier status column with only the data where the courier status has been shipped. Remaining data we are actually excluding. So now this we are doing by to only understand this particular thing, and to cover like what I'll tell you one more thing which we have seen. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we probably have seen what is the amount of sales happened with each type of status, or with each type of courier status. So what is the amount for shipped data? What is the amount for unshipped data? What is the amount for cancelled data? Of course, you know, cancelled data will have zero amount, and we were able to kind of see that particular data only like 3 lines of data of shipped, unshipped, cancel, and associated amounts for those. So why I'm specifically talking about this, because now seeing it this in this way might not be a very uh, conventional way of like seeing at the data, because you may have to kind of present it to somebody. You cannot actually present it by adding 2 columns saying that, okay, this is the shipped status and this is the amount associated with shipped status and so on in a small box or in a small table. Instead, you might have to kind of come up with a chart. Okay, maybe a bar chart or maybe some other chart which is very which is probably the correct way of presenting the data. So let's see that if everybody already has Matplotlibrary in your, I'll also check here. I can actually check here. Let me comment everything down. Okay, let me only uncomment these things so that yes, I'll also import Matplotlibrary. Import matplotlib. Matplotlib.pyplot. Let us check. Actually, there is some change in this importing way of Matplotlibrary. Even I did not check in the recent days. Matplotlib.pyplot. Yeah. Let me check for a second. Yes. Yeah, we are right. Okay, this is same. Yeah, we are right. So matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Let me check if I have this library already. Yeah, we do have this library already. Let's only check by print creating one simple chart first, a line chart by date, because we already have. Let's go back to our Excel sheet. Yeah, let's go back to our Excel sheet. So we have a date column. Okay, column number C. Sorry, column C, and we have amount column P, and I want to kind of see. Let's filter out by one city, maybe Hyderabad, and then accordingly see what is the trend of sales by date in that particular city. So for that, you already know, firstly, we need to apply some filters. Okay, like this. So I'll say DF Hyderabad only, because I want only data of Hyderabad. So here, instead of courier status, I'll probably say ship city, and I'll probably change it to Hyderabad. Let me copy Hyderabad, and then I'll remove this because I need all the columns. So let me also just print and check df Hyderabad, yeah, dot head 2. So I want to only print 2 rows, and you can see that we only have Hyderabad data. How you can validate is I have the index 78 7 and 8 because it will print first two rows. So it did not print 0, 1, 2 rows. It directly printed first two rows as 7th and 8th index rows. You can probably see 7th and 8th index rows will be my Hyderabad rows. Okay, so that is the reason that is the way you can validate whether Hyderabad rows have been pulled or not, or maybe extracted or not using this filtration process. So now what we want to do, we want to come up with some chart. Okay, so simply what you can do plt dot line, then you can say tf Hyderabad, and then you can say x is equals to, I want x equals to date, and then comma y equals to amount. Okay, and then I'll probably write one more line called plt.show to kind of present my graph. Okay, plt.line. It's absolutely correct. Let me check. Okay, let me also check plt. Let us check, instead of line, let us check with plot. It should probably work. Let me check. No, it will show. It will kind of create a small GUI window, and then it will show the data. Let us check. Give me a second. Even Pandas itself has basic Matplotlibrary functions which you can create visualizations, but I want to cover with Matplotlibrary only. Give me 1 second. Of course, you can show, but what is the problem that way is now let us go back to the Excel sheet. Now I'll say that I want column C and column P, both columns to be actually presented as a graph. Now column C is my date, which will go into my x-axis. Nothing but as it is a date column, I want to show the trend day over day or date over date, whatever I have. So I'll put it in x-axis, and now my amount will be in y-axis to kind of project the amount. So now when I don't filter out the data by Hyderabad, what happens is it will take all the dates, all the ship cities. So the number of points which you see on that particular graph will be very huge, and you won't be knowing which point is of which ship city. Okay, let us do that. Let us do that. Instead of actually filtering out some data, let's try. Yeah, let's try without filtering first, and then let's do after filtering. So yeah, we can. Let's plot it first. Then I'll just plot line plot only, or let me just simply say df.plot x is equals to date, comma y equals to amount. plt.show. So here the data is shown. Now you can see starting from 4:30 2022, we have data till 6/7 2022, and we may even have more data, we don't know. And you can see how the plot is looking like. Okay, let me change it to scatter plot. Now it is line plot, so you are not seeing how many data points we have. So let me change it to scatter plot. Kind is equals to scatter. Yes. So now you can see we have this many data points, and if you are kind of drawing a line, you need to draw a line starting from here to passing through each data point. So when you are doing when you are doing this stuff, okay, you won't be able to identify trend of sales of maybe one city or even one country as a whole because of this many data points. You may have to aggregate the data points by month or by maybe bi-weekly, or maybe you need to kind of degranularize data. So now we have data granularized on date as it is giving us this many data points. So now probably what you have to do is degranularize data to few data points and then plot it out. Then only you will see a proper plot. That is the reason what I was doing is I filtered the data with only Hyderabad data. Okay, and then instead of df.plot, I'll say df Hyderabad.plot, and let's see the same thing again. So now you see the number of data points have been drastically decreased. Okay, now we can do some more filtration as well. So instead of df like what ship city, okay, yeah, let's have ship city. Let's also kind of say we only want category of kurta. Okay, so that is what we need. Let me kind of also add that. And df of what is it column category equals to kurta. And now let me run the same thing. Okay, now you see the number of data points have more decreased, and now even this way we cannot actually plot the like what we cannot actually see the line trend. So what we can also do is we'll do a little more degranularization by setting up courier status equals to only shipped or unshipped. Let's do something else. What do we have? Or let's filter out on the date itself that we only want date like what data of 4:30. Yeah, only 4:30. Let's because 4:30 itself has so many data points. I'll just put that as well as filter. Date. But if I only take one date, you may not see the trend line because we are only like what looking at one date. So on the single day, if you want to see trend line, you can only see trend line hover over hover. Right now, we don't have hover over hover data. Just to kind of see that we have less number of points, we are kind of plotting this. Later, we can see the trend line itself. See, now you see only on 4:30 we have these many data points for kurta as a category, for Hyderabad as city. Is this clear, or do you have some doubts here? I, yeah, so exactly. So as I told you also yesterday, especially in the class also, I told that 70 to 80% of the work will be done either in SQL or Pandas. Only 20% of the work will be done in order to plot the data in a right way. So you can see if somebody asks you to kind of come up with some presentation of sales in last 1 year, automatically your brain has to tell you that, okay, this is a problem statement for line chart. So I'll just go back and then create a line chart which has like what month over month data on x-axis and sales on y-axis. And if somebody asks you that, okay, I have a data of different categories, here in our data, I have different categories for kurta, set, top, and so on. So now what I want to do is the problem statement